Good morning, Eastside Youth. I know I'm going live a little bit early today. I just want to play around with a couple settings, see if a couple things are working this morning. I know I've had a little bit of trouble with some of the layout and stuff like that. So we'll still get started around 9 with our lesson and our time together. But I'll be on here for a few minutes trying to work some stuff out. Excuse me. Woo! Yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, hope everybody's doing good. And it's going to be better weather this week. So hopefully y'all get a chance to get outside and enjoy some of that good weather. Yeah, so if you guys, the interesting thing is, and I see I've got it running on my tablet as well, and I can see that folks have joined. So one of the things that's been happening is their stuff is not popping up over on the computer where I'm actually recording. And so if you guys want to leave a comment, I'm going to see if those pop up. I'm also going to test a screen share thing, and I'm not sure what causes some of this stuff, but we're working on it. I'm going to try the screen share and see if it pops up. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that is new. Okay, makes a little more sense. Yeah, sorry. So one of the new things, Iona. So that's cool. That popped up on my computer. So I think I might have figured some stuff out, guys. That's encouraging. Yes. The other thing that's super encouraging is I also have an answer to why the screen share was not working last week. And as of right now, I don't necessarily have a way on Facebook Live to swap over to screen sharing. Their screen share feature is in setup, and so I would have to share it with you, but then you would not see me at all during the thing, which might not be a bad thing, but here we are. So I'm going to let folks kind of trickle in here, give it a couple minutes, and then we will get going. But yeah, like I said, it's supposed to be really nice this week. I'm looking forward to it. I'm drinking. Yesterday was Anna's birthday, so we went and got freebie, and we only got one. So we have it left over today. Yeah, but it's supposed to be really nice out this week. I'm looking forward to it. It's been kind of rainy, and so the whole stay inside mess coupled with rainy or not necessarily stay inside, but like you're allowed to go outside, but it's been rainy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to some warmer weather, doing some yard work, getting some bike ride in, that type thing. So looking forward to that. Again, if you guys are just joining up, feel free to leave a comment and say, hey, I'm here. Good morning. And again, if you're viewing this later, oh, excuse me. If you're viewing this later, feel free to interact with it as you would if you were live. So what that means is like if in 15 minutes I'm like saying something about something and you guys have a comment or a question, throw it in there. It'll pop up and we'll still be able to get to it. But we would rather have that interaction with you guys, even if it's later, because I know it's 9 o'clock, and a lot of y'all haven't had to get up for school recently, and so you might be like, yeah, 9 o'clock's pretty early because I go to bed late. But yeah, here we are. I'll give it a couple more minutes. Sherman, Tyrone are here. They're chilling with me this morning, hanging out. They're not staying 6 feet apart, but that's on them. I think they're okay. They don't really breathe oxygen the way that the rest of us do, so that's whatever. Um, but yeah, I am going to click around here for a second. But hope y'all are doing well. Again, let me know, and don't hesitate to reach out, guys. Like if you're middle of the week and you're just like, man, I'm bored. I need to talk. I need to call. We're pretty available right now, so feel free to give us a call, give us a text. We'd love to hear from you guys middle of the week. Um, yeah, or in any way. We do have some stuff coming up this week. I'll let you guys know about it. Probably tonight. Yeah, we'll let you guys know what's going on this week, and we'll try to get something of some sort every day. I'm experimenting with using other platforms. I know a lot of people are using a thing called Zoom. I've heard good and bad. Don't break what ain't fixed. That's what I always say. So we'll probably stick with Facebook Live. I'll also let you guys know I've been uploading all of these videos, whether it's morning or midweek or Sunday night, to a youth YouTube page. So if you go to YouTube and type in Eastside Youth, there's a couple of them. You might have to scroll a little bit, but there, and I'll post the link on the Facebook page. But all these videos will be there. So if you want to go back and look at those later, or if it's something that you'd like to share with someone who's not yet in the Facebook group, we kind of did that. So that way you guys have an easier way viewing those and sharing those and doing that sort of thing. So, yeah, we'll give it a couple more minutes here and then we will get going with some prayer and our study today. We're going to be in 2 Kings 6. So if you've been following these, we're just moving right along with our study in 2 Kings. Yeah, and so we've still got quite a bit of 2 Kings left. I think I'm pretty sure we will be in 2 Kings when we meet together in person again next time. So that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, for now, I'm going to pray, and then we will get going for the morning. Dear Lord, we thank you for your word. God, I pray that as we get ready to look at 2 Kings and some more weird stuff with Elisha, God, I pray that our hearts and minds would be open to what you have for us today. God, I pray that people are well, that they're healthy. But just as important, God, I pray that folks are staying hopeful. I pray that these youth are staying just as hopeful as they are healthy right now. Sometimes it can be tough to do things when the end result doesn't seem as tangible. And God, I pray that we would just be wise in keeping an eye on the way that we're living our lives right now, helping others to stay healthy. And God, we just thank you for the chance to meet online digitally. I pray that this time is a time where we can ask questions and grow together. And we ask these things in your name. Amen. All righty. I'll put this back on. So again, if you're just hopping in, welcome. Good morning. Got my coffee fix here. I'm pretty excited about that. Um, feel free to say hello in the chat. It seems to be working this morning, like I was saying. And we are going to be in 2 Kings chapter 6. So just to give a little recap as you guys are getting there and taking time to get there. Last week we looked at Naaman. So Naaman was a Syrian military leader who, in where he's from, they had captured people of Israel, and they had brought them over. And one of the people they captured was this little girl, and Naaman was a leper, and she's like, well, I got a guy, Elisha, he's back in Israel, he could help you out. So Naaman goes, and he has to swallow some pride, but eventually, excuse me, eventually Naaman does follow through and do the things that Elisha instructed him to do. And it's one of these things where, like, what God was asking or what God was directing Naaman to do in order to receive the healing and receive the blessing didn't make sense. It was like, well, that's weird. I don't know why I did that. But Naaman did it, and we see that he benefited from that. He was healed. And then the last half of that chapter is Elisha's servant kind of doing a no-no. So he goes out and tries to accrue some wealth from Naaman in payment for the healing that God did in Naaman's life. And Elisha's like, no, that's not right. And also, you're going to have some of these medical struggles now. And so that's where we left off last week. This week, 2 Kings chapter 6. I'm going to go ahead and read this, and we're going to split this up into a few sections. So we're going to start with verses 1 through 7. 2 Kings 6, 1 through 7. It says, now the sons of the prophets said to Elisha, see, the place where we dwell under your charge is too small for us. Let us go to the Jordan, and each of us get there a log, and let us make a place for us to dwell there. And he answered, go. He answered, go. He said, hey, go, get out of here. Then one of them said, be pleased to go with your servants. And he answered, I'll go. So we went with them. And when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees, but as one was felling a log, his axe fell into the water. And he cried out, alas, my master, it was borrowed. Then the man of God said, where did it fall? And when he showed him the place, he cut off a stick and threw it in and made the iron float. And he said, take it up. So he reached out his hand and he took it. So this first section, the sons of the prophets decide that they're going to go out because where they live, there's not enough room for us, and they're going to build a house for them to all dwell in. And Elisha agrees, and he comes out with them, and he agrees to go out and help them with his endeavor. And then while they're working, one of these guys is chopping down a tree, and the axe head flies off of the handle, and it lands in the river, in the Jordan River. And the Jordan River is deep-ish, like you can walk across it in some places. But one of the interesting characteristics of the Jordan River is it's not particularly clear. And we saw that last week when Naaman, when he's told to go wash in the Jordan, he's like, that river is nasty. Like, I don't want to go there. We got good rivers back home. So to see this axe head, it's not like you could just walk out there and maybe go, whoa, there it is. You're not going to be able to see it at the bottom of this river. And so this guy is panicking because we find out that the axe head was borrowed. And as such, according to the Jewish law, something that was borrowed was supposed to be returned undamaged or in as good a condition as you took it. And if it was, there was a fee enacted. And we looked at this in Leviticus where, if you do this thing, it's like 10% or 20% more that you had to pay on top of the price of the thing that was damaged or lost. And so for this prophet, based off his response, this fee is too great for him to pay. That's what we get. And 2 weeks ago, we saw that these fees, excuse me, could mean judgment, and they could cause a person to then enter into service or a type of slavery to another person that they owed this money to if they were unable to pay it. And so we have this person that through the law has accrued a guilt that he cannot pay, that he is unable to pay on his own. And then as a result, the man of God, Elisha, steps in and he says, what's up? And he tells him what's going on. And so he goes out and he takes a stick and he throws it in the Jordan River. And then the miracle happens. The iron axe head floats to the top. And the guy's just able to scoop it out, put it back on, attach it. And we get this picture that this prophet of God has to acknowledge his debt. He has to say, I've messed up. I've lost the thing in the river. It's too great for me to pay. I cannot do it. And then only then after he acknowledges that he is in debt, that he is going to need help from, in this one, the man of God, then does the man of God step in and do something, perform a miracle to remove his debt. So then from there, the chapter continues in verse 8. It says, once, when the king of Syria was warring against Israel, he took counsel with his servants, saying, at such and such a place shall be my camp. But the man of God sent word to the king of Israel, beware that you do not pass this place, for the Syrians are going down there. And the king of Israel sent to the place about which the man of God told him, and thus he used to warn him, so that he saved himself there more than once or twice. And the mind of the king of Syria was greatly troubled because of this thing, and he called his servants and said to him, will you not show me who of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king. But Elisha the prophet, who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the words that you speak while you're in your bedroom. And he said, go and see where he is, that I may send and seize him. And it was told him, behold, he is in Dothan. So he sent their horses and chariots and a great many, and they came by night and surrounded the city. When the servant of the man of God rose early in the morning, he went out, and behold, an army with horses and chariots was all around the city. And the servant said, alas, my master, what shall we do? And he said, don't be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. And then Elisha prayed and said, O Lord, please open his eyes that he may see. So the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. And when the Syrians came down against him, Elisha prayed to the Lord and said, please strike this people with blindness. So he struck them with blindness in accordance to the prayer of Elisha. And Elisha said to them, this is not the way, and this is not the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. And he led them to Samaria. And as soon as they entered Samaria, Elisha said, O Lord, open the eyes of these men that they may see. So the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. And as soon as the king of Israel saw them, he said to Elisha, my father, shall I strike them down? Shall I strike them down? And Elisha answered, you shall not strike them down. Would you strike down those whom you've taken captive with your sword and with your bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink, and then go to their master. So he prepared for them a great feast, and when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their master, and the Syrians did not come again on raids into the land of Israel. So this time, King of Syria is sending attacks on the people of Israel, and Elisha keeps giving counsel to the king of Israel how he can avoid the king of Syria. So what's happening is the king of Syria is in his home, and he's like making plans. And then way over in Samaria, Elisha is going to the king of Israel, and he's like, hey, God has revealed to me that this is what the king of Syria is planning to do. And so every time the king of Syria goes out, Israel is not where he thought they were. They're avoiding him. And he finally gets to the point where it's like, okay, which one of you, and he's talking to his military people now, he's like, which one of you is messing this up? Who is the traitor here? And they're all like, no, not us. And then word about this Elisha guy has gotten out. And so they're like, but we think Elisha's in Samaria, and that dude's weird, and he has done some crazy things. Talk to Naaman. Ask him what he's done. And so the king of Syria goes, yeah, I've heard about that. He's cool with Naaman, remember from last week. And so he says, go out, capture Elisha. And so they come out with all their chariots and stuff. And I think it looks a little similar to when Naaman came out last week, all these chariots and horses. And again, Elisha's not worried. They come out, And Elisha's servant, who in this chapter is not called Gehazi, so I think he's got like a new guy that's hanging out with him at this point. Excuse me. But they come out, and his servant's like, "Whoa, Elisha, we're done, man. Like they have surrounded us." And Elisha's like, "No, no, 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 no. We're good. There is something going on here that you cannot see. God has our back here in a way that you can't see." And he prays. He says, "God, let my servant see what's going on." And then his servant is able to see that around Elisha are all these, they're called chariots and horses of fire. And so this is often thought of as like these spiritual forces that are fighting, that Elisha is in tune with, because he is in tune with what God is doing, but his servant is not. And Elisha is confident in this, where he's like, "We're okay." And then he prays that they come on, and it says to strike them with blindness. And that seems bad at first, but check out what he does after he strikes them with blindness. He strikes them with blindness, and then Elisha brings his enemies, the Syrians, he marches them into his own city of Samaria, marches them to the king that they have been trying to capture and trying to kill. And he marches them in, and the king's like, "Whoa, whoa, what do we do, Elisha? Are we going to kill him, right? That's what we're going to do." And Elisha's like, "No, we're not going to kill him. We've captured him, and now we treat them with kindness." And that's powerful. Because remember, the Syrians, at the beginning of this section, it says the king of Syria is sending attacks on the people of Israel. And so we would expect the king of Israel and the prophet who is in charge of the people of Israel at this time to go, "Yeah, get them. They've been handed over, silver platter." And Elisha says, "No, no, no, no. Bring in the banquet." And then in verse 23, it says, "So he prepared for them a great feast." And then what's the result of that kindness? The end of 23. "So he sent him away, and the Syrians did not come again on raids to the land of Israel." See, we've talked about how Israel is supposed to be this banner of this is who God is, and this is how he acts, and this is why he is greater than the people around Israel at this time. This is why our God is worthy of praise. And in this moment, all eyes on this situation. Everybody's going, "Yep, Israel's got him. They're going to fight. They're going to kill this other king. They're going to be free." Remember, Syria has taken some of their people into captivity at this point. And all eyes on it are like, this is the moment they're going to get free. And Elisha says, "No, our God is different, and we are going to act with kindness." And that's powerful. And we get this beautiful image of what it looks like to love our enemies and let God take care of things. It's huge. And the result is here that it says that the Syrians did not come again on raids into the land of Israel. Now we're going to talk about that, because this is not the end of the chapter. And immediately after this, Homie goes on a raid in the land of Israel. So let's get into that. Verse 24. "Afterward, Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, mustered his entire army and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria as they besieged it, until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 shekels of silver. Now as the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, a woman cried out to him, saying, 'Help, my lord, O king.' And he said, 'If the Lord will not help you, how am I going to help you? From the threshing floor or from the winepress?' And the king asked her, 'What is your trouble?' And she said, 'This woman said to me, Give me your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and ate him. And on the next day I said to her, Give your son, that we may eat him. But she has hidden her son.' And when the king heard the words of the woman, he tore his clothes. And now he was passing by on the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth beneath on his body. And he said, May God do so to me, and more also, if the head of Elisha, the son of Shaphat, remains on his shoulders today." And Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him. And now the king had dispatched a man from his presence, But before the messenger arrived, Elisha said to the elders, "Do you see how this murderer has sent to take off my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door and hold the door fast against him. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him?" And while he was still speaking with them, the messenger came down to him and said, "This trouble is from the Lord. Why should I wait for my Lord any longer?" Okay, so we've got a little bit of mess here. The king of Samaria. So these guys who went out on these raiding parties, it says that they stopped raiding. But that does not mean that the king of Samaria, the king of Syria, has dropped his entire campaign. So they're not getting raided, but the king of Syria has not stopped. And so in this section, Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, is like, okay, I'm going out there. And he comes out to the land of Samaria, and Samaria is in a famine. And the famine is so bad that, like, poop is a commodity. It says a cab of dove's dung is sold for 5 shekels of silver. That's rough. And we're in kind of an economic thing right now. We're not selling poop. And Lord knows we're not doing this next part where this lady comes to the king and she's like, hey, I have been wronged. Here's how I've been wronged. So she says that she's walking around and her neighbor says, hey, we got to have food. Let's eat your kid. Not good. She agrees. Also not good. And then the next day when the lady promised, your kid today, my kid tomorrow, the other lady's like, no, I hid my kid. You're not getting hit. And so this lady's mad. And kind of rightfully so, but also like, you're a bad parent. And so this kid or this lady, it comes to the king, and the king hears this situation. He's like, whoa, things are bad. And he tears his clothes. And who's he mad at? He's mad at Elisha. Why is he mad at Elisha? Because the enemy was there, delivered to them, and in the king of Israel's mind, Elisha blew it. And now they have this situation. And so now the king of Israel is mad, and he sends out and he says, go get Elisha and bring me his head. So Elisha's in his room. And he doesn't really seem worried. But what's really sad at the end of this section is Elisha says in verse 32, do you see how this murderer has sent to take off my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door and hold the door fast against him. Is not the sound of the master's feet behind him? And then this messenger in verse 33 says this weird thing. He says, and while he was still speaking with him, the messenger came down to him and said, this trouble is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer? In other words, the king of Israel has sent a message to Elisha saying, I'm done. I am done waiting on your God, Elisha. And remember, this is not the king of Syria. This is the king of the people of Israel saying to Elisha, I'm done. I'm mad. I'm not waiting on your God anymore. And we see in real time this play out where the king of Israel gives up on his God. And it ends with a sad and tough note. When the people of Israel are in pain, the people, remember, they wanted a king way back before David. And I said, this is going to be tough. God is your king. But God said, you know what? We'll try it. We'll do it. And you'll see. And so now they have this king who is obviously a poor leader. He's not leading his people. One, because he doesn't even know how bad it is for his people with this lady showing up being like, hey, we're starting to think about eating each other here. And two, when the going gets tough, he blames his God. He says, this is your fault, and I'm not doing this. I'm turning away. That's awful. It's not the proper response, because we saw in the previous chapter how when they responded in kindness and when they responded in a way that was different, God caused the raiding to stop. And we're going to see next week that this famine is not going to last forever. If you have a Bible that has headings, the first heading in chapter 7 says Elisha promises food. So yes, they have a famine right now, but they're not going to have it forever. And we get this sense to be patient. It's okay to be upset and even sometimes frustrated with God at times. But what we talked about in youth is when we get to that point where it's like, don't turn away from God. Run to him. Get as near to him as you possibly can. Because in James it tells us when we draw near to God, he draws near to us. And we see the king of Israel does not do that here. He does the opposite. He says, nope, I'm tired of it. I'm out. That's tough. You know, we're in tough times. And this is why I keep talking about staying hopeful. Because it's gonna be done, guys. Like, God is bigger than what's going on right now. He is. He's got it. He's not surprised by it. He's in control. He loves us. But we should not look at what's going on and go, you know what? Forget this. No. Now more than ever, turn to God where there is actually hope. It's not in the economy. It's not in whoever is in charge telling us to do whatever. Our hope is in God and in the future of what he has. He's doing something right now that, kind of like these horses, we might not be able to see it. But in 5 years, we might. In a year, we might. And that's cool. But we have to lean in and trust what he's doing now and that it will have good things to come. That's 2 Kings 6. Next week is Easter. And I do not think that we will be together for Easter. And that's sad. But it's no less hopeful. Easter is still as much a day of hope next week if we're digitally meeting as it is any other year when we are together. We will be here with something live next week for Easter. We love you guys. Stay hopeful, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you tonight. We're going to be in Leviticus. Keeping going. I think we got 2 more weeks in Leviticus. So love you guys. I hope you are well, and take care. Blessings.